Summary of The Last Night of the World by Ray Bradbury. A man asks his wife a question while pouring himself a cup of coffee and wondering what she would do if she knew that it was the last night of the world. In the living room, he can hear his two little girls playing with blocks. His wife says she hasn't really thought about it, so he tells her to start thinking. She asks, is it war, a nuclear bomb, or germ warfare, with a lot of worry. He says that it is none of these things, but rather a closing of a book. He has a feeling that the world is going to end, which sometimes scares him and sometimes calms him down. The man says that he had a dream 4 nights ago in which a voice told him that the end of the world was coming and that things would stop here on Earth. He saw a friend named Stan Willis looking out the window later that day at work. When the man asked Stan what was wrong, Stan told him that he had a strange dream the night before. It turned out that both guys and many other people in the office had the same dream. The woman asks her husband if she really thinks the dream is real, and he says that he is sure it is. She asks when the world will stop, and he tells her that it will stop for them in the middle of the night, but it will take 24 hours for the world as a whole. The man asks his wife why she doesn't argue with him and agrees with everything he says. She says with some doubt that she had the same dream last night. She heard the women in her neighborhood talking about the same dream earlier today, but she didn't think it was anything more than a chance. When the man asks his wife if she's scared, she says she's not, which surprises her because she always thought she would be. The man asks why there doesn't seem to be a spirit of self-preservation, and his wife says that when things make sense, there's no reason to get upset about them. She says that the way they've been living means that nothing else but this could have happened. The man doesn't think they've been that bad, but his wife points out that they also haven't been enormously good. They have been focused on themselves while the rest of the world has been dealing with lots of quite awful things. The girls' laughter can be heard from the other room. The man says that his children, wife, and a few easy pleasures are the only things he'll really miss. He says he never really liked his job or the city, so he won't miss them. He asks his wife how they can talk about the end of the world so quietly, and she says that they have no choice. He agrees and says, if there were, we'd be doing it. They wonder how other people are spending their last night and assume that they are watching TV, playing cards, and going to sleep like always. The woman thinks it's a good thing to be able to do this. The man asks why the world has to end on this night. Why couldn't it have ended last century or even 10 centuries ago? His wife thinks it might be because October 19, 1969, has never happened before today. Now that it is and everything is just as it is everywhere, the world must end. The man says that there are bomber planes in the air right now that will never make it to land. His wife says that's part of the reason why the world is coming to an end. For the rest of the night, the pair goes about their business as usual. They wash the dishes and put them away with special neatness, and then they tell their girls goodnight. They leave the door to the girls' room slightly open so they can see the light coming in. The woman wonders if the girls know that the world is going to end, but her husband says that can't be true. The couple spends a few hours sitting by the fire and listening to the radio or reading the paper. The two get ready for bed at 11:30 p.m. The man kisses his wife, and she says, "We've been good for each other, anyway." He asks her if she wants to cry, but she says she doesn't think so. Both of them get up and turn off all of the lights in the house. When they finally get into bed, they talk about how clean and nice the sheets are. The wife jumps out of bed and runs out of the room. When she gets home a few minutes later, she tells her husband that she left the kitchen tap on and went to turn it off. Her husband laughs, and so does she, knowing what it was that she had done that was so funny. They get back into bed, hold hands, and say goodnight to each other.
About the author. Ray Bradbury was born to Leonard and Esther Bradbury in Waukegan, Illinois, in 1920. In 1934, Bradbury and his family came to LA. Bradbury began writing short stories while he was in high school in Los Angeles. In 1941, he sold his first story to a magazine called Super Science Stories. The Martian Chronicles, which came out in 1950, made Bradbury known as a science fiction writer, even though he often said he was more of a speculative fiction writer. Bradbury has written a lot of short stories, but his 1953 book Fahrenheit 451 is what most people know him for. It is about repression, literature, social order, and technology. Bradbury married Marguerite Maggie McClure in 1947. She was the only woman he ever dated, and they were together for 56 years, until Maggie died in 2003. Bradbury died in 2012 at the age of 91. He had written over 600 short stories, 11 novels, many of which were made from his short stories, and even children's books, film scripts, and poems.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.